Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, September 10th. Oversold or not oversold? That is the question. This morning, Wall Street is coming off a bounce in stocks yesterday. The Dow jumped 484 points, or 1.2%. The S&P 500 added 62 points, or 1.16%. The Nasdaq popped 193 points, or 1.16%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.09%. That's positive. We were flat to lower all morning long, and just recently just started to trend higher. So, hey, that's nice to see. I mean, the earnings calendar, the economic calendar today is very light. There's nothing really significant that's going to be able to cause these markets to rally or fall apart. But Oracle did release positive earnings. They released a positive earnings report last night. Plus, they announced some nice deals with cloud providers, Google and Amazon. Apple, hey, they had their iPhone release event yesterday. It came out as expected. There was nothing groundbreakingly new. Okay. What is kind of new is EU regulators are upholding these fines to Apple and Google. That's not positive for those firms. Congress last night, they did pass that legislation to cut U.S. government funding to Chinese biotech companies. They're deeming them national security risks. These tensions with China continue to heighten. In China last night, they released their import and exports data. Exports grew while imports fell. That's a consumption issue. Consumption in China is down, and that's kind of creating an issue globally. It's creating trade concerns for them, honestly. But we're kind of taking a look at what happened overseas. What's happening overseas this morning. We're taking a look at Europe this morning, and Europe is kind of a mixed bag. What is it? I'm looking at the DAX exchange, and the DAX is down 80 points or 0.44%. We're looking at the FTSE. The FTSE's down 47 points or 0.57%. The CAC is higher by 11 points or 0.16%. Annual inflation data out of Germany was confirmed at 1.9% in August 2024. Now that's down from 2.3 the previous months, and it's matching estimates. But Germany was flat at earlier. Now it's down to 81 points. That's something happened that I got to take a look at. We're talking London. We're seeing some weakness in healthcare stocks, mainly due to the U.S. action. We're looking over last night in Asia, and we're seeing that the Nikkei fell 56 points. Now, it was higher, but it did fall on the day. The Nikkei in Tokyo, Japan, the second quarter GDP growth rates was revised lower. Hong Kong, on the other hand, the Hang Seng jumped 0.22% or 37 points. The Shanghai added 7 points or 0.28%. Chinese exports growth missed expectations in August, while imports increased more than anticipated. That's really what we're seeing. And we did see some positive gains in consumer, financial, and tech stocks in Hong Kong. Alibaba started trading in Hong Kong as its own entity, and that's causing Alibaba shares to rise here in the U.S. this morning. But oil remains a key story. We're looking at WTI. WTI is at $67.80 a barrel. That's down 1.32%. We're talking Brent. Brent is down 1.22%, trading at $70.96 a barrel. Weak imports out of China. That's lowering demand. That's concerning. Then you get that OPEC monthly report that also came out this morning. Now that showed a downtick in their forecast. Oil demand growth for this year, they downticked it to 2.03 million barrels per day, which is lower from 2.11 million barrels per day. That's not great. That's why you're seeing weakness in oil go on this morning, and weakness in oil is going to lead to weakness in The oil stocks, you're looking at Chevron, that's already trading down 0.2% this morning. But that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update, Emily.
Bill, it may be a little bit light on the earnings and economic calendar front, as you mentioned, but we're going to still dive into the details that are worth noting. And there's still other market moving information we'll get to throughout the show. We will start with earnings action. Bill, what is going on there?
Well, Oracle, ticker ORCL, they released earnings last night, and Oracle did deliver a beat of 7 cents on higher revenue. And then they announced some, positive deals with other cloud providers. And you're looking at Oracle this morning, the stock's up 7.8% because they beat by 7 cents on higher revenue. It was a good report. Upcoming, this afternoon, we got ticker WOOF, William Oscar Oscar Frank, Petco. That's expected move is 22% roughly. Dave & Buster's ticker play, ticker PLAY. Their EPS is 84 cents. Expected move is 16.57%. GameStop, ticker GME, Grace Michael Edward. Their EPS is for a loss of 8 cents. Expected move is 16.97%. Dave & Buster's ticker play, put volume went through the roof yesterday. And when you see elevated put volume going into earnings, it's typically a negative sign. So I'll be watching the put volumes today to see if that trend continues. But that really makes me nervous, I must say. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
And Bill, now we're going to get to economic events. A few to note here that are worth keeping an eye on. You did mention that OPEC monthly report that has already come out, but give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Yeah, 7 a.m. the OPEC report. We talked about that earlier. At 8:55, you have the Johnson Red Book on retail sales. Okay, there's not a lot else going on, so these reports will get a little more attention to because there's nothing else going on. So it's one to keep an eye on. And then at 10 a.m., we're going to be hearing from Vice Chairman Michael Barr, Fed Vice Chair Michael Barr. Now, this is a blackout week for Fed officials, but he's different. He's the Vice President of Supervision, and he's going to be having a talk at the Brookings Institute today, and he's expected to discuss capital requirements for the large banks. This is not with respecting to the economy. This is capital requirement supervision, so it's okay. It's not considered part of the blackout period. But this is going to be a key speech that I think the market's going to be watching, and could cause some gains in the bank stocks today, Emily.
And Bill, even though there isn't a ton of information coming out on the earnings and economics front, still keeping track of the information that you mentioned, and you're still looking at other types of data and information this morning, news coming out of different sectors and segments. You're watching things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, and other catalysts, plenty going on that front. And you're looking at your stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just looking at my Dow stocks. I show 11 higher, 19 lower. It's not good going into the session. In terms of FANG stocks, a mixed. A little weakness in Apple. Not surprised. As we said, it was trading 222 yesterday. Now it's at 219. The event's over with. So there was nothing groundbreaking. They did exactly what was expected. So you're seeing a little weakness in Apple because of that. Netflix is a little lower. There's no catalyst event driving that one higher today. So I'm not surprised to see some weakness. But everything else, all the other things stocks are higher, which is the reason why we're now seeing the S&P's higher by 0.2%. So yeah, we could have a positive opening. In terms of news behind the headline, as I said, Apple, no major surprises at the iPhone launch, but the European Union's Court of Justice rules against Apple in the 13 billion euro Ireland tax case. That's not positive for Apple. Amazon, they announced the launch of the Oracle database at AWS. Google Cloud announced the availability of Oracle database at Google Cloud. Google lost its fight against European regulators. It was the European antitrust regulators 7 years ago where they fined them for various anti-competitive practices. It's 2.7 billion or 2.42 billion euros. I mean, it's not positive. Tesla, I do see that the Europeans looking to lower, tariffs on Tesla. That's kind of good for Tesla stock, which is why it's up 1.66% this morning. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, we got Goldman Sachs, which is down about 0.7% this morning. Goldman's CEO came out yesterday, and he expects trading revenue to drop in the third quarter. Yeah, stock's not going to gain when you start talking about dropping trading revenue. But J.P. Morgan, their chief operating officer, Pinto, he's going to be speaking today at 9:45 at the Barclays Financial Services Conference. That could be interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that. In terms of merger news, IBM's acquiring Accela Alpha, which is a leading Oracle consulting firm. UPS is acquiring a German healthcare logistics company. Terms on these two deals weren't announced, so they're not really significant, but they're interesting, although they are interesting. In terms of guidance, Oracle sees Q2 EPS coming in at $1.45 to $1.49. Street estimates $1.47, right dab in the middle. Citibank CFO feels good about their ability to deliver on the full year 2024 revenue goal of 80 billion to 81 billion. Okay, Sirius XM, they're a public company, standalone. They see 2024 revenue coming in 8.75 billion, around that area. That's where the consensus is. So, I guess that's positive. In terms of meetings going on today, Rocket Companies, ticker RKT, Richard Kilo Tom, they're having an investors day today at 9 a.m. Campbell Soup, ticker CPB, Charlie, Paul, Boy, they're having an investors event today at 9 a.m. AT&T, ticker T, their CEO is going to be having a discussion today at 11:10 a.m. at the Goldman Sachs Tech Conference, something to keep an eye on. Let's talk buyback news. NerdWallet, ticker NRDS, Nancy, Richard, David, Sam, they announced a new 50 million share repurchasing program. In Sirius, ticker SIRI, Sam, India, Richard, India. Sirius XM Holdings, their board announced a 1.17 billion buyback program. In terms of catalyst calls this morning, ASND, Apple, Sam, Nancy, David, that's Ascendius Pharma. Citibank opened up a 30-day catalyst positive catalyst watch on the stock. That's something to keep an eye on. But that's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
Going with ticker C as in Charlie, that's Citibank. It's all about the capital requirements. Vice Chairman Michael Barr, he's going to be speaking today. He's Vice Chairman of Supervision, and he's going to be talking about lowering the requirements for that Basel III Accord, which really does help the big banks. Now, you think about it, he's going to be talking about a 9% increase. Now, that's going to be down from a 19% increase. So that's really positive. You're looking at the call volume yesterday on Citibank, 45,547 versus put volume of 33,105. That's positive. You're looking at open interest, 1,161 versus 1,096. Again, that's positive. Each broker still like the stock. They're raising price targets on it. But listen, I want to get in under $60 here. I'll say 57.70, but I do want to get in under 60 for Citibank. We'll see if that's a possibility. Depends on how it opens, but that's my pick of the day. Citibank this morning, ticker C is in Charlie.
Bill, looking at Citibank and trying to get in there at a compelling price, something that you were looking at yesterday. And coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day to see if you got in at a discount and made a gain there. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, sending it back to you.
Okay, let's see what we see here. Gilead Sciences to work with Genesis to apply AI platforms to discover advanced therapies, GILD. Chipotle returns smoked brisket to its menu in the U.S. and Canada after 3-year absence. I don't know if that was a big seller or not for them. Ticker LUV, Larry Uncle Victor, Southwest Airlines executive chairman plans to retire among activist pressure. Now, this is Gary Kelly. Gary Kelly's been there forever, and he was the number 2 to Herb, I forget his first name, the former the guy that really founded Southwest Airlines, Herb Keller, I believe his name was. Gary Keller was the number two, and he became, executive chairman. But he looks like he's going to be retiring as part of the shakeup at the company's board. Under pressure from Elliott Management, that could cause some positive price action in Southwest Airlines today. Wells Fargo CFO sees no change in guidance. Okay, talking about new credit cards that they have, or that they will be introducing, I should say. Alibaba stocks higher after being inclusion on China mainland's stock exchanges. Johnson & Johnson's are going to be presenting the latest survival data on its Mariposa study at a lung cancer conference today. AstraZeneca, ticker AZN, Apple Zebra Nancy, a lung cancer drug trial failed to show or improve significant survival rates. Stocks lower. Moderna, mRNA, this is interesting. Michael Richard Nancy Alpha. The implied volatility is elevated, and on September 12th, they got an investors meeting, so something's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be, I'm not going to be betting on the positive side, but, Moderna, something's happening there. Boot Barn, ticker BOOT. Boot Barn reports August same-store sales up 6%. Azul, ticker AZUL, the Brazilian airline, said yesterday that they expect annual net revenue to reach $3.58 billion this year. That's a 7% increase from last year. Ticker UAA, Under Armour, they expect the restructuring efforts to cost more than it had previously forecast. Not good. That's what I'm seeing in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off and get to trading today, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Broadcom. Now, Bill, you felt like the post-earnings sell-off with this one was a little bit overdone. You were looking at like a 137 range to get in the stock, hoping to get a gain from there. How did your call work out?
Worked out fabulously. I mean, listen, I was saying, 137, but the stock opened up at 139.11, but then it fell. It actually fell down to the 135 level. And listen, I was like, at 137, I got to start buying. And I bought a little more as it started falling. Next thing you know, it just starts moving and climbing higher and higher. It actually, hit a high of 141.58, but closed at 140.82. You look at it this morning, it's trading 141.24. So yeah, it worked out fabulously. Avago, Broadcom, ticker AVGO, was a winner yesterday, Emily.
Bill did just as you expected it to get that gain, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Citibank pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.